Hi, thank you for joining me for today's process video. Now, I must confess this is a tale of two halves, which you will see later on. This video has frustrated me greatly, but anyway, I am using Chamel's main character energy for American Crafts, and I'm documenting a photo of some writing that James had done on a little whiteboard that I brought him back from America with some pens. He was only 4 coming up for 5 when he wrote this, and I was so proud of him. I suspect that Sophie might have helped him with this a little bit, but he took the photo and everything, so I just wanted to document this. So I printed the photo off as a, I think it was about 3 by 5, and then trimmed it down to, or 3.5 by 5, and trimmed it down to 3.5 by 3.5. Just that it was nice and square and showed the writing clearly. And now I'm just pulling out all the greens, blues and yellows from this collection to create some strips varying from 1/2 inch to 1 inch wide. And I'm going to build a mat using these strips, just distressing the edges as I go, and then trimming down the lengths if I feel they're too long, because some of these are the full 12 inch, which I don't want. It takes me a little bit of time to do the distressing because obviously these are quite thin strips and this is very thin paper. Well, I wouldn't say very thin, but it's from the paper pad. You can see it's single-sided, so it's a little bit thinner than the open cardstock that you get from American Crafts. So I'm just having to be a little bit careful. And I'm not distressing more than I need to because I'm lazy. So you can see I just hesitated there putting the first piece down because I wanted to check that I had the distressing the right way round. So just continuing to pull a strip up at a time and then glue it down to the previous strip. Adding the glue on top of the previous strip each time, or sometimes on top of the new strip and tucking it underneath, depending on how I want them to go, because I don't want them all to be layered one on top, on top, on top. I don't like the uniformity of that, so just, as I say, working my way through. I won't make you watch all of this, I just do about half of it and then I'll fast forward to the rest of the video. But it's just to give you an idea of how I'm staggering all the strips, and none of them are the same size, and just working with the shapes that I've got, really trimming off any excess that I don't want to use. So this green bit marks the middle of the strips, so I'll just fade out there and then get to the end, and you can see I've even used the branding strips. There's a hole in that green piece there, which is a branding strip from one of the papers. So when I've got it all layered together, I decided that actually I want it the other way around with the stars on the right hand side, so just changing that. And then I'm cutting out one of these cards. I had that world globe earmarked to start with, but then I saw this one that says "You sure know how to shine," and I thought that worked really nicely with this photo because it is James showing off his writing. So now I'm going to make a couple of faux tags to tuck on top of that card. First of all, this lovely cloudy paper. And then I'm going to pull out some of that green and white dot. It was just a scrap that I had and I thought that was the right size. So pulling out my crocodile, I'm going to add the holes to these tags. First of all, that green one, and just trimming off the edge that I didn't need. And then this, I start with the small hole on this blue cloud one, but then I decide I want to use my hole reinforcer, so I switch to the bigger hole and then punch that out, and then I'll use my hole reinforcer to add that just for a bit of extra detail on that tag. So there we go. So that's the main body of the layout. I would need to embellish as well, of course, but I think that's how it's going to go. So I'm just going to start gluing everything down, starting with a white border on the photo. I really like a white border around my photo just to give it definition against the busy background. It just gives it prominence on the layout, which is obviously what you want because you want your photo to shine. And I do like to tell a story on my layout, so I'll always add journaling. And I've got that cloud tag earmarked for the journaling on this one. So distressing the edges of that tag, that cut apart, and then sticking that down. And that will be my title for this layout. And then gluing the photo and that to the mat on the background before I add those tags. And you can see I'm doing what I always do. I'm creating a mat before I stick it down onto the background. This gives me the opportunity to add some mixed media if I want mixed media on there, and just to check that I do have the layout centrally or balanced, because the number of times I've created layouts and then had to add bits to the sides because I wasn't happy with the balance of it. So this is a much easier way of doing it for me. It can be a little bit fiddly getting all the layers together and in place, but it's worth it for me, as I say. So I think that's everything stuck down, just struggling to get that little tag glued to the rest of it. And then I decide that I want to add a piece of paper behind this, just to create a frame around the whole layout. It was feeling very white today, so I just wanted to add something. So I plumped for this lovely green with the white polka dots. I'm not going to gut it. I normally do gut my papers, but this is from a paper pad. I had 48 sheets of this paper, so I think I've got enough to be going on with, especially the way that I scrap. I don't use huge wadges of pattern paper with each layout that I create. I tend to use white backgrounds, so I was fine losing this one. So I'm just roughing up the edges of that white cardstock. I really should have grabbed my tool, my edge distresser, to do this before I stuck it down. So just quickly working on that before it glues properly to the background. And then once that's done, I can bring the actual layout back in with the photo. There we go, the mat, and get that stuck down. So just using my T-square ruler to check that everything's straight, and then I can start sticking it down. I know the photo is not exactly straight, so I'm just pulling that up a little bit so that I can reposition that again using the ruler. My glue was playing up, so I don't know why I'm not just using Nuvo all the time. It's so much better. I do like the precision tip of that small bottle. I suppose that's the problem. I like having the little metal tip sometimes, so get a thinner line of glue. So just adding some Nuvo behind that photo to get it stuck back down again, and just checking that that card is in the position that I want it to be. And this is where it all starts to go horribly wrong. My camera, for some reason, cut off. I used my iPhone and I've never had an issue before, but it cuts off right here. So I just finished filming this layout, or thought I had, and when I went back to the footage, half of it's gone. I don't know what has happened. So you will have seen me laying out the base here, including the tags, and I'd stuck it to the background piece, and then I started to embellish. So this is a camera that I fussy cut from a piece of paper that I've used on a previous layout. Got a couple of puffy stickers here and here, which are from an old Bo Bunny sticker sheet. I punched out a tag from some silver cardstock using my EK Success tag punch. This is from the 49er Market Sunburst collection. It's just a little title saying yes. These are fussy cut from the Chamel Main Character Energy paper. This is an LE Studio puffy sticker, and then all these little stickers around here, and these are from a Heidi Swap sticker book. It's this one from a few years ago that I just used to embellish the page. And then this little frame and this piece, they were all one bit, so I cut the bottom bit off the frame and put it down here and popped the frame up there. And then I did my writing just on a scrap piece of white cardstock. It was one of the 1-inch pieces that I cut from the border, and stuck it down on the tag there. And then of course roller date stamp of the date on top. Then I finished off with the this is one of the Vicky Boutin watercolour paints to splatter around, and that's it. I've just noticed that I haven't put any string in that tag hole, so I will do that. You should see that in the close-ups at the end. I'm so sorry about that. It's really frustrating me. I don't know why. I record on my iPhone and normally it's absolutely fine, but for some reason it decided to cut out halfway through today. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed the process. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.